And yeah, so not going to take any more time because we have a lot to cover. So please, Donna, tell everybody how you ended up here at the BPM RIA monthly meeting tonight. And I did invite Carl to the meeting tonight, but I don't see him in right now. So hopefully he pops in. If he pops in, I will raise my hand and let you know. But yes, Carl Fisher, as many of you guys know, is the secret ingredient to today's recipe. Carl Fisher of Camoplan. That is how I found Donna. And take it away, Donna. I want you to tell them how we got here.
Okay, well, we got here because you called me and invited me, and I'm so glad that you did. It has been years since I've been there in person, and I'm sorry I can't see you all in person now, but I'm thrilled to connect by Zoom. I have to give a shout out to Maurice Pierre. Is that, I'm probably not pronouncing
Yes,
your name right?
Maurice. Yes, love
Oh,
her.
it is so good to see you on the screen. We
So
have shared
sweet.
so many emails. It's great to see you and everybody else as well. I am very excited because it is a great time to be doing note buying. And so you could not pick a better time to do it. And the thing is that I started like over 30 years ago, and I literally was babysitting 9 kids. 4 of them were my own, but the other 5 I got paid $1 an hour to babysit for. And I started doing notes. It totally changed my life. It has been a huge blessing for me, and it can be a huge blessing for you. And I want to tell you that over 30 years, I've been through 3 or 4 really strange markets where interest rates were going crazy. Heck, when I got started, interest rates were over 18%, 18%. And, of course, we went through the downturn in 2008 and several other times. And do you know that every time when there's been a strange market and lots going on, that's when I've made the most money. And so I really want you to learn how to do notes and understand that as interest rates continue to go up, there are going to be more and more opportunities. We've already seen foreclosures starting to go up, which part of the reason is because they released the moratorium, but nonetheless, there are more foreclosures coming. And so it's a good time to start thinking about getting back into the non-performing notes. The great thing about doing notes is there are so many different strategies. If you think about it, every deal that you do, unless it's all cash, it involves a note. So when you learn some of these strategies, you will be able to close more deals and you'll be able to make more money. So Matthew, if you will share my screen, let's get started right away, because I want to show everyone why note buying is the fastest, easiest, safest way to build wealth with real estate. Are we sharing now? Are
You're
we
good,
good?
to go, Donna. Yep.
Awesome. Okay, well, of course, what I'm talking about is discounted notes, and you can close a deal in less than 30 days. That's how fast it is. And it is safe because you never even have to have your own cash at risk. Listen, I know there's people thinking, I would love to do notes, but I don't have any money to get started. Then you are in the right place. Do you think when I was babysitting for $1 an hour, I had any money to get started? No way. That's the beauty of doing notes. I am going to show you tonight how you can start buying notes without any of your own cash. And so it really is super safe if you don't have your own money invested in it. And it is so easy that the kids are doing it. And I do mean kids. This is my nephew. And when he was about 20, he was going to Wright State University, and he called me up and he said, Aunt Donna, could I have a copy of your book? And I thought, sure. So I sent it home with his dad, never gave it another thought. A couple months later, I get a call from Will, and he says, Aunt Donna, I got a deal. I said, you got a what? A deal, a deal. I got somebody that wants to sell a note. I got somebody else that wants to buy it. Will you look and see if I did everything right? And at first I was really like kind of disheartened. I thought, why didn't he even ask me? I would have helped him. But you know what? I was with him the whole way. He was listening to my CDs. He was using my checklist, using my documents. And so, needless to say, he put it all together. He made over $15,000 on the deal, but he was so generous. He gave half of it to the fella who referred the deal to him. So he wound up with $7,500 on his first deal. It enabled him to buy a used car. It enabled him to not have to work a part-time job on the next semester of school. So that was a life-changing thing for him, at least while he was in college. But he's not the youngest. The youngest is Gavin Thomas, and he came to one of my academies and he won a defaulted second mortgage that we were giving away. And do you know, at 17 years of age, he settled that non-performing note and made $4,500. So I know if these two young fellas can close these deals and make money, there's no doubt in my mind that every one of you can as well. And like I said, there are so many ways to make money with notes. You can truly tailor make a game plan to fit wherever you are in life. I mean, you might be facing foreclosure yourself or lost a job, or maybe you're a doctor or an attorney and you want to do some investing, but you have a full-time profession. It doesn't matter. There's always something that you can do with notes. And it doesn't matter what your goals are. It could be that you're looking for a monthly income. Notes can help you to do that. Or maybe you're wanting to build your retirement. The thing is that there are so many different strategies that you can use to accomplish whatever you're setting out to do. Now, I said that note buying is the fastest, easiest, safest way to make money in real estate. But a better name would be what Alexa had on the screen, note buying, the perfect strategy for this unperfect market. You don't even need your own cash to get started. That's why it makes it so easy for everybody to get involved. Now, tonight I want to zero in on 3 strategies. First of all, how to make quick cash. Because I don't care how much cash people have, they always can use some more. Everybody's always looking for quick cash. And then I also want to talk about building a financial legacy. So if you're maybe life got away from you, you could even be, only have a few years left to build a retirement. It's not too late, okay? You can use notes to build your retirement so quickly. So we're going to talk about that. And then I also want to show you how you can acquire properties really cheap. And we are going to use both performing notes and the non-performing notes to accomplish this. Either one will work for these things. Well, actually, for acquiring properties, you're going to use the non-performing notes. And you might think, well, why in the world would I want to buy a non-performing note? Well, it's because you can use it as leverage to either get the property or to earn super, super high rates of return. Okay, so either way. Now, if you're wondering which one should you start with, it really depends on your personal goals. The non-performing notes, typically you get larger profits, not all the time, but you can. But the thing is, they take more time. They take calendar time. They can take a couple years sometimes to work out a non-performing note, and they take more hands-on time. And more importantly, they are really a much greater risk because you can do the performing notes risk-free. But with the non-performing, there are so many exit strategies and so many things can pop up that you need to have a little cash on the side to take care of those things. Whereas if you're starting out with the performing notes, which is what I recommend, you make very nice profits. And they typically take very little time, and they really can be risk-free if you set up your transaction just like I'm showing you tonight. Now, a lot of people say, well, I can't decide if I want to do notes or properties. Well, the truth is that it is a good idea to have a balanced portfolio. You want to have some of each. Without a doubt, the notes, they give me super high rates of return. I make a lot more money with my notes than I do with my rental properties. However, the rental properties have tax advantages and they have appreciation and they have other things to offer besides the notes. So it's a good idea to have some of both. Now, what you need to do is decide which door you want to choose. Do you think you want to focus primarily on properties? Have any of you had that kind of a property? I've had a couple of those where the smell is so bad you can't stand it. Or would you like to do notes? This is why I love to do notes, because I can be at the beach having fun with my grandkids and the money keeps coming in. Okay. So why will you prefer notes over properties? Well, the big thing is you never even own the property. The cool thing about doing notes is that you control the property without owning it. You have all of the security of the property, but you don't get any of the headaches that go with it. None of the proverbial tenants, trash, and toilets. No bed bugs. You know what? When my kids were little, I'd say goodnight to them. I'd say, good night, sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. I didn't know they were real. I had no idea there was such a thing. And then we had a rental property that was just completely infested in it. And then I felt really bad for saying that to my kids every night. But anyway, also with notes, there's no rehabs, no building orders. You don't have carrying costs. You don't have to worry about negative cash flows. And truly, you can make full-time profit for part-time effort. It does not take as much time and effort to make great money with notes as it does to owning the property. And you're going to find that you will make absolutely amazing rates of return. And as I already told you, you don't need your own cash or credit to get started. And that means ultimately you're going to have the time and the money to live your vision. And isn't that what it's all about? You know, when I started out, I like I said, I was making $1 an hour, and I would lie in bed at night and I would say, Lord, Lord, please show me the pot at the end of the rainbow. And he did. Wrong pot. But it goes to show you need to be specific in your prayers, let me tell you. But truly, he did show me the pot at the end of the rainbow. I've been doing notes for almost 35 years now. And like, I have had total freedom. You know, I talk about that I was babysitting and it got me out of babysitting. One day I was giving a presentation and I thought about it. My first grandson, do you know that when his mother went back to work, I got to keep him full time for the first year? And all of a sudden, I'm giving my presentation. I thought, you know what? Notes got me out of babysitting when I didn't want to do that anymore. And they allowed me to babysit when I wanted to. And that's what I mean, that notes give you so much flexibility and truly you can use them to accomplish whatever you want. Now, before we get started, I do want to jump in right away, but I want to introduce you all to Matthew Miller. He is my assistant. If you come on board with us, you'll be talking with him. He'll help you get your website and your dashboard all up and all of those good things. But for tonight, he's going to be monitoring the chat. And I want to make sure all questions get answered. But the best way to do that is to put your questions in the chat, because he knows if I've got a slide that's popping up that will answer that question, or he knows if he should stop and have me explain something. So please feel free to put your questions in the chat. And thank you, Matthew, for taking care of that for me. So without further ado, the all-time fastest, easiest, safest way to make huge profits in real estate is simply to flip a note. Flip a note, and it can be a performing note or a non-performing note. You can easily make $10,000 in 30 to 60 days. And again, I keep saying it, but I have to because people don't believe it or it just doesn't resonate with them. You don't need your own cash or credit to get started. And in just a minute, I'm going to show you how that works. Before I go through an example, I want to make sure we're on the same page with the terminology. A note is a promise to pay a debt. It's an IOU. I owe you $100,000. I'll pay you 6% interest, $500 a month. Whatever the terms of the loan are, those are included in the note. But it is the mortgage that provides security or collateral for the lender. So if the borrower doesn't pay on the note, it is the mortgage that allows the lender to take the property. And then, well, the lender might get paid off at foreclosure, but if not, and he winds up with the property, he could sell the property and recoup his money. And indeed, that is where the safety lies, because everything we're going to be talking about is secured by real estate. You don't want to be buying notes that are secured by cars or things that can drive away, or God forbid, an unsecured note. That would be extremely risky. Okay, so let's look at a typical example. This is my Sam and Bill example. So let's say that you have Sam Seller and he owns his own house free and clear. And let's say it's worth 600,000. And he's had it on the market a couple times. And every time he thinks he's got it sold, the people can't get a bank loan. And finally, his friend says to him, look, why don't you just offer seller financing? Why are you having them go get a bank loan? What are you going to do with the 600,000? Put it in the stock market right now? No thanks. And so Sam puts an ad on some social media, and sure enough, Bill Bauer calls him immediately. And Bill says, look, I want to come and see it right away. So he goes, he looks at the property, he falls in love with it. And he tells Sam, look, I just sold my own house. I can give you $150,000 down. And he said, I'll pay you 10% interest. I'll pay you $4,000 a month. And in 10 years, whatever I owe you, I'll refinance and pay you off. How does that sound to you? Does that sound like a good deal? Would you do that if you were Sam? He's thrilled. So Sam sells the $600,000 house to Bill. And in exchange, Bill gives Sam $150,000 in cash plus a mortgage for $450,000. So let's look at this. Was it a good deal for Sam? If you look at everything he got, well, first of all, he got a very quick sale of his house, didn't he? He sold it immediately. He didn't have to wait for a bank approval or anything. And he's getting a really nice rate of return. And he's got some nice tax benefits because he's done this on an installment sale. And so overall, he's got a nice, safe investment. So he's thrilled. So let's say that 2 years go by and the $450,000 mortgage is now paid down to just over $443,000. Well, what happens if Sam gets tired of waiting for his money? I'd say he got really tired there. But you know what? I bet that's what it feels like, because people will carry back a note and they think, oh, this is a great investment. And then life happens. They get married, they get divorced, they want to go to school, they want to start a business. For whatever reason, they want their money. You've seen that commercial, it's my money and I want it now, and that is the way people feel. And so you want to be in a position to help them get their money when they're tired of waiting for it. So let's say we've got Sam Seller, and for whatever reason, he needs $375,000. But where's his money? It's tied up in this mortgage, a $443,000 mortgage. But it just so happens that Sam got a letter from Donna Dealer here. And this letter says, Dear Sam, I understand you're receiving payments on a mortgage. I pay cash for mortgages. If you're tired of those small monthly payments, call me and I'll tell you exactly how much cash I'll give you today. So Sam calls me up and tells me the whole scenario and that he needs $375,000. Sounds like a great deal to me. So we strike a deal and Sam sells the $443,000 of remaining payments to me. And in exchange, I give Sam the $375,000 that he needed. So he takes the money and runs. He takes his $375,000, does whatever he wants, and doesn't look back. Now, do you see here that I did not buy the property? Bill lives in the property. I bought the right to collect the payments from Bill. In fact, Bill's position doesn't even change. The only thing that changes for him is that he's going to send his payments to me. Is everybody with me on that? We are going to be the bank. We are not owning the property. Bill lives in the property and he takes care of the property. So is this a good deal for Sam? Well, if you look at his down payment, his monthly payments, and now $375,000 in cash, he's received a total of $621,000. What was he selling the house for? Only 600. So needless to say, he's very happy. And like I already said, what really drives these home is not always how much money you get, but if you can give them the money when they want it. People will take discounts, they will sell for less because they want their money now. And that's what creates a golden opportunity for you. So let's see, if you would like to be in my shoes, what did I get? I just bought a $443,000 asset for only $375,000. So I built in $68,000 of profit right up front. Unlike a house where you're wondering, oh, can I put another roof on? Am I going to have to change the electrical box? Am I going to have to replace this plumbing? You don't know what you're going to make until you get all done with that rehab. Whereas with a note, you know that you've got $68,000 worth of profit built into it. And if they default and you get the property, you might even make more than that. Okay. Now, this works out that if I had my own cash to buy this note, I would be making 13.25% on my money. But hold on. Didn't we just say that Bill's position doesn't change? And how much interest is he paying? 10%. So how can I be making 13.25% if Bill's only paying 10%? It is because I built in the extra $68,000 of profit. You see, when you buy a discounted note, there are two profit centers. There's the interest that Bill is paying, but there is also the discount, the equity that you build into the transaction. In this case, the $68,000. So my $68,000 profit plus the 10% interest is what gives me a 13.25% rate of return. Everybody see that? And it is this equity, the $68,000 discount that allows you to be so creative and like help people who are in default, and do different things. Now, if you have your own money to invest, you'd make 13.25%. But what if you don't have any cash? How can you make money on this note if you don't have any money to buy it? Well, it's real easy. If you don't have the money to buy the note, then you just flip it. Like I said before, this works both on the performing notes and the non-performing notes. You can flip either one and you can make quick cash by doing it. Now you might be thinking, well, that sounds great, but I still don't have $375,000 to buy the note to begin with. Well, it doesn't matter because you're going to use your investor's money to buy the note. Now, this next slide is the most important slide I'm going to share with you. So make sure you're paying attention. Follow this because this is the secret to making money flipping a note. So we said that you have this under contract, that you can buy this note from Sam Seller for $375,000. And if you had your own money, you would make 13.25%. If you want to sell this for a profit, all you need to do is find an investor who wants a lower rate of return than what you're buying it for. So let's say you're networking with your fellow RIA members and you meet Irene Investor and she's fed up with rentals. And she says, boy, if I could get an 11 or 12% return, I would start doing notes right away. Well, is 11.5% less than 13.25? It sure is. So if we were to give her an 11.5% return for this note, that means she would pay $410,000 for the note. Do you think we should flip it to her? If you want to make $35,000, we should flip it to her. Okay? Now, I want you to see this because this is truly the most basic transaction you can do in any kind, with any kind of a product. It's buy low, sell high, and whatever the difference is, that's your profit. People think, I feel like notes have gotten a bad rap, and people think, oh, it's so difficult, and you've got to know how to use the financial calculator and all this kind of stuff. It's just too hard. I can't do that. It doesn't get any easier than this. And the truth is, I love using the calculator. Like, I love numbers, but you don't have to use the calculator to do this transaction. Sam told me he wanted 375,000. All you have to do is go to an investor who knows how to buy notes. Excuse me. You show them the note that you have, write up the details, and you say, how much would you give me for this note? And Irene might say, I'd give you $410,000. And you do the closing, you're going to order title, appraisal, or a drive-by appraisal, and check their credit, get their insurance, get your investor's name added onto the insurance. When you close, you're going to walk away with $35,000. That's how easy it is. And if you are wondering what your rate of return would be, what is it? And you don't need a financial calculator. It's infinite because you don't have any of your own money invested in it. Isn't that awesome? So this is the slide that you want to get familiar with. It's buy low, sell high, and that's how you make money flipping a note. Now, you might still be wondering, where'd the money come to buy it from Sam to begin with? From Irene Investor. And there are two ways that you can do this. The first way is with a simultaneous close. Now that's where you close two transactions back to back, and you use the money that you made from the second transaction to actually fund the first one. Now, I know some of you are thinking, Donna, don't you know you can't do simultaneous closes when you flip a house? That's true, you can't. But are we flipping a house? No. We are flipping the financing. I used to own a title company. I had 3 underwriters. They all gave their blessing to do simultaneous closes as long as it was with a note and not a property. Okay. So if you call a title company and they won't do a simultaneous close on a note, you need to call a different title company because it is absolutely fine to do it. Now, let me show you how the simultaneous close works. So Irene would wire her $410,000 into the title company's escrow account. Your escrow agent is going to set up 2 closings. The first one is Sam selling the note to you for $375,000. And the second one is you selling the note to Irene for $410,000. Okay. And so the title agent is looking at this and she says, my gosh, Donna's going to make $410,000 when she sells this to Irene. And lo and behold, Irene's money is already sitting in their escrow account. So if they already have money that they know is about to become mine, do they need to call me up and say, hey, Donna, you need to wire $375,000 in here? No. What they do is they take $375,000 of Irene's money and they close on the first leg of this. So now you own the note. And now the note that you bought with Irene's money for $375,000, you're going to turn around and sell to her for $410,000. And that's how you make your $35,000 profit. Isn't that so cool? I had an attorney who taught me how to do this. And when he said to call the title company and set this up, I was afraid to call them. I thought they're going to think I'm a scam artist or something. It sounds like, well, this is really shady, but it's not. It is done all the time. Banks do this all the time. But the key is you can only do it with notes and not with properties. Okay. Okay. My dog has something to say about that. He says he agrees. I don't know if you can hear him.
He smells a good note, Donna. The note hound smells
Right.
good.
He smells a good note. That's a good one. Okay. So the second way is by assigning the contract. Now, maybe some of you have assigned a real estate contract. You get a property under contract to buy and you assign your contract to someone else. It's the same thing. So you have this under contract where Sam has agreed to sell the note to you for $375,000. You could sell your contract to Irene and she would write you a check for $35,000. Then she steps into your shoes and Sam sells the note to her, okay, for $375,000. So she still has $410,000 invested in it. But the only downside of that is if she's writing you a check for $35,000, she now knows what your profit is. So I will tell you that for a long time, I always did the simultaneous close because I didn't want my investors to know how much I made. And then I got to thinking about it. Wait a minute, I'm teaching everyone how to do this. I'm very transparent about what the profits are. Why not just use the assignment of contract? Because my investors know what I'm making anyway. And the thing about the assignment of contract is it saves you money because you only have one set of closing costs. So if I were you, if you are using an investor that you don't want to know, you don't want them to know how much you make, use the simultaneous close. But if you are using someone that you feel, would be grateful to have the transaction, and, then even if they knew how much you made, then I would do the assignment of contract. Does that make sense to everybody? Matthew, do we have any questions?
We just had one come in. Alexa, Joshua had a question there.
All right, Joshua, is purchasing a note considered like kind property in a 1031 exchange, assuming you hold the note, which is essentially equity in the property without flipping it?
It has been years since I have done a note in a 1031 exchange. I believe it has to be a note for a note, but don't quote me on that. I will go back and check and let you know.
Maybe Carl Fisher knows.
Is Carl there? Is Carl there?
Carl, are you in? Carl.
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, Carl, you're saving
Donna.
me. You're my hero. Answer this question.
I heard it. I don't know the answer either on that. From the 1031, I'd have to go back and ask them. But, it also has to do with boot and the amount that you have, et cetera. So, I'd have to look at that situation and the example you just used.
Well, thank you then for confirming that it's okay not to know the answer. Hey, it's good to have you on here. I'm so glad you're on. And you guys, if you do not have a self-directed IRA, you need to get a hold of Camaplan. That's where I have my IRA. They are wonderful to work with. I mean, I'm not just saying this, Carl. The reason I have my IRA with you is because they cut through the red tape. They understand notes. I can close transactions with a lot less headaches in a lot quicker time. And I just absolutely love working with Camaplan. And if you don't have an IRA, you need to get one set up because you're going to want to do these note deals inside your self-directed IRA. Right, Carl?
Tax-free income is always the best, I say.
I agree. Thank you for jumping on, Carl.
Hey, no
Okay.
problem. Love to learn. I always learn from you, Donna.
As do I from you. So it's
All right.
always good when you can trade ideas and mastermind with other people, with other like-minded people, because I think you create synergy. What one person doesn't think of, the other one will, and then you take off and lots of good things can happen. So, okay. So I have just showed you two different ways that you can make money with notes. If you have your own cash, maybe you would want to come in as Irene or Ivan investor, where you buy the note and hold it. You use your own money and you do it because you want a nice, safe, high yielding investment. Now, maybe all of your funds are already placed, but you still want to do some note deals. Or maybe you're like I was when I got started and I didn't have any money to invest. Then you want to start as Donna dealer. Okay, you want to flip the note, use other people's money, flip the note, and make a lump sum of cash. Okay, so you could make 35,000 here, 50,000 here, 10,000 over here. And before long, what happens is you have enough cash where you can be Irene or Ivan investor. And that's an important concept. I think we can all agree that we all want to be a passive investor. To do that with notes, start out as Donna dealer, build up your own cash, and start investing in the notes. And it is a perfect way to become a completely passive investor. Now, I have to tell you about Phil, who, to my knowledge, has made the most money flipping a performing seller carryback. Do you know on his first deal, he made $395,700 just flipping a note? Can you imagine that? Would that change your life a little bit? And that's probably for about 20 hours of work, And so the key to this is if you want to make that large of a profit, then you want to go for the larger notes. The larger the note, generally speaking, the larger the profit. And so he found a commercial note. You probably don't have any commercial notes in Florida, do you? Or any $2 million properties. Maybe this won't work for you. You guys, I hope you know that you have a gold mine in your backyard. I'm a little bit envious because actually Florida is one of my top two favorite states to buy notes in. And for those of you who don't live in Florida, you can still buy notes in Florida. But you guys are very lucky because you really do have a gold mine right there in your own state. You don't have to go anywhere else to buy notes. But going back to Phil, he found a note that he could buy for $2 million. He did not have $2 million to buy it, but he found an institution that would buy the note apparently for $2,395,000. And that's how he made his profit. Okay. So just because you often make more money on non-performing notes doesn't mean you always do. Okay. Okay, how many of you would like to grow your money quickly and safely? Anybody interested in learning how to do that? This is an awesome way to do it. And this is like one of the simplest ways to make super high rates of return and make lump sums of cash. This is an actual transaction that one of my students did on my Easy as 1, 2, 3 coaching program. I have a program where if you get my educational materials, Then along with that, you get 6 months of easy as 1, 2, 3 coaching. And what that is you use my marketing strategies and you find someone that wants to sell a seller carryback note, a performing seller carryback note. And then you fill out the submission form, send it over to me. And at that point, I walk you through the entire transaction. So the coaching starts when you send me a note to work on. Okay. So Rick sent out some postcards and he got a response from Miss Annie. The interesting thing is, Miss Annie lived in Dallas, and Rick lives in Rochester, Michigan, and I live in Cincinnati. Okay. And nonetheless, we were able to put this transaction together. So Miss Annie calls up Rick and says, look, I have made boatloads. These are her words. I have made boatloads of money on this property. And she says, if I could get $80,000 for this note, I would sell it right now. Well, it turns out that she had bought it as a rental. I mean, she was doing real estate before it was ever popular for women to be doing real estate, you know? And so she had it for a rental. When she got tired of owning the property, she sold it. She carried back a note. She unfortunately was in very poor health and she was wanting to cash out of everything so that her daughter would not have to worry about it, that she could inherit cash, which I question that. But anyway, I guess maybe her daughter didn't want a note. I don't know. Anyhow, we offered her $80,475. And that works out to be a 25% return. So if I had my own cash and I were to buy this note from her, I'd be making 25%. That's without anything happening. That's just buying the note, sitting back and collecting the payments. Where else can you make 25% on your money secured by real estate and you never have to deal with the property? You know, no painting, no collecting rents, no snow, shoveling snow, none of the headaches of owning the property, no overflowing toilets, no tenants calling you up at 3 o'clock in the morning. So the thing is, if you do your own marketing, it is not unusual to buy a note and get 15, 20, 25, 30% return right out of the gate. It's because she knew she just needed $80,000. She had no idea what return that would give me, but she got the cash that she needed. So we got this under contract. And I called another student who I knew lived in Texas. I didn't know he lived a half hour away from the property. That is totally answered prayer. There's no doubt in my mind. And so he agreed to buy it. And honestly, we could have gotten 100,000 for it easily, but he was ready to move on it. He said he'd do 95,000. And because Miss Annie was in bad health, Rick and I discussed it, and we decided we would rather close quickly than make an extra 5,000 on it. So we got it under contract to sell to Ivan. And I always like to do a call with my investor and the borrower before we close. I want them to meet each other. So we do a conference call with the payor on the note. And Ivan, investor, asked, how's your credit? And would you be interested in refinancing and lowering your interest rate? And the lady says, well, my husband had a heart problem. We've still got some medical bills that we're paying off. But if I could, I would certainly refinance. Well, it turns out that Ivan actually is in the business of helping people to refinance. He's an attorney. He helps people with credit issues. That's his thing. But anyway, so we closed this transaction. We bought it from Annie, flipped it to Ivan, and Rick and I made $14,525. That was our gross profit. We actually netted a little less because we had some closing costs and a drive-by appraisal. So we closed this. 3 months later, I get an email from Ivan Investor. He wanted to know if I had any more notes for him to buy because this one had already paid off. He had helped the borrower to refinance and he got a payoff of $117,000. So with the 3 monthly payments, it wound up that he made, let's see, 17, 22, probably about $25,000. He wound up with a 96% return and 25 grand in 3 months. Would you like that transaction? Would that change things for you? So do you see that now instead of $95,000, he could go buy a larger note for 117? Okay. He might buy a $160,000 note for 117. He could get an early payoff on that. Now he would have 160 to work with. So maybe then he'd buy a $200,000 note. That is how you can grow your portfolio very, very quickly. And it's math. It just happens. If you have bought this at a discount, which that's what we do, we always buy at a discount. When you realize that payoff, you're getting your discount back very quickly instead of having to wait 10 or 20 years for it. And that's what makes your rate of return go through the roof. And that's what gave him $25,000 profit to turn around and reinvest in another note. And it's simple to do. And in fact, I have notes that pay off all the time and I don't even offer to help them refinance. They just do it on their own. And I love it because I know I'm going to get a lump sum of cash that I can turn around and reinvest in a larger note. So your takeaway here is that when your discounted note pays off early, your rate of return skyrockets. Now, this is not the same case for private lending. When you lend money, you're not doing that at a discount. So this is by buying a discounted seller carryback note. Okay. Any questions on this part, Matthew?
Let's see. I don't think we have any questions here. Arelis, I believe your name is pronounced, just had mentioned earlier about how flipping notes is similar to wholesaling properties, and especially so when you're using the assignment of contracts. So that was a good. We had a couple people asking Donna about how do you find notes.
Oh, that's what I'm going to share on Saturday, the 17th.
Yes.
So this is a good time for me to tell you about this. I am going to do a 4-hour presentation on Saturday, the 17th. And the purpose of that is to help you hit the ground running. I'm going to focus mainly on marketing for notes. We will do some role playing so you'll know how to talk to the note sellers. I'll show you how to evaluate a note. We'll go over some really special things. And the idea is so that you can start marketing right away and close a deal as fast as possible. So we will go over all of that on Saturday. The short answer to the question is most people like direct mail. You can buy a list of people who are receiving payments on a note, and I have special designed postcards or letters that you can send to people. But the truth is, your most profitable marketing strategy is networking and getting to know. I promise you, people right in your group here will have notes to sell or will want to buy your notes. And I have a whole list of people who could refer deals to you, notes to you. Think about who knows about notes: title companies, mortgage brokers, realtors, CPAs, financial planners, all kinds of people. So we'll go over that in detail on Saturday so that you'll know exactly where you can go to find some notes. So that will be Saturday, not this coming, but the next Saturday, the 17th, from 9 to 1. Members are $19 and guests are $29. And I should say, if you're not already a member, you need to become a member. You have a great group. And remember, I was talking about synergy. The synergy within your group is amazing. If you aren't a member, you need to become one. I would not be here today if it were not for the Cincinnati Rio Group, and I mean that sincerely. So certainly, I hope you consider joining. Um, to register for Saturday's event, you can go to this link if you want to jot that down. But Alexa, help me on this. They can also go to the website and get your
Absolutely. Absolutely. You guys know the deal. I already have this event posted, so you can lock in your seat right now. I did throw that link over in the chat for you guys if you want to click it, or right in the chat box in Zoom. So go ahead and press that link right now if you'd like to go ahead and get your ticket for Saturday.
That sounds good. And Alexa, what I want to do, let's say if people register, no, if people buy my materials, okay,
Yes, but yes,
next
go ahead and tell us
Wednesday,
everything we need to know about how you can get people ready to start implementing your system. Let's do it.
okay, Matthew, can you take care of that? Can we go?
Beautiful.
Perfect. Okay, so I'll share with you real quick my my system that I'm offering tonight, and this is what's going to get you up and running really quick. First of all, I have my NoteBuyer's Master Guide, and I need to mention that this is all virtual. I used to have big, heavy manuals that I would ship, and people hated them. They said, "Look, we want a PDF. We want a dashboard where we can look whatever we want." So all of this is virtual, but I have my NoteBuyer's Master Guide, and this is what teaches you how to flip the seller carrybacks so you can make $10,000 and then in the next 30 to 60 days without ever owning the property. And that is a downloadable 400 plus page manual plus about 10 hours of audio. And that retails for $2,497. Now, for those of you who are buying and selling properties, this is a must for you. This is where I would start if you're buying and selling properties, and that is smart seller financing. And it will teach you how to create notes that will give you maximum cash out value. You wouldn't believe the number of times where people will send me a note, and one lady sent me a package of 30, and that was to be their retirement. And the notes were so poorly structured, and an attorney had helped them with the documents. The documentation was terrible. And the fact was, I was afraid that if I bought them and they went into default, I wouldn't be able to enforce the note. And I had to tell her, look, they're worth a lot more to you than they are to me. She needed my book because then she would have known how to structure that. She would have used the proper documentation, and I would have loved to have paid top dollar for her notes. Now, this is a downloadable manual. It retails for $597. You'll also get my Making Dollars and Cents with the Financial Calculator. Everybody loves this book. I was at a convention once and the fella had bought my whole system, and I was doing a calculator class, and he comes in waving my red book. This was when I had physical copies. And he says, "This little book is worth every penny I paid for the whole system." And the reason everybody loves it is I can have you up and running and calculating rates of return in no time at all. People who love numbers and love the calculator, they love my systemized approach. I have developed my own 4 infallible steps that will help you to set up your numbers, and it actually will let you know if you've made a mistake in your calculations. So people love that. And the people who hate calculators, they love it because it helps them not to make mistakes and because I make it so easy. So I know that you will really love the calculator manual, and that retails for $397. You're also going to get my NoteBuyers Academy media set. Now, this is me teaching live. I mean, it's a video of me teaching at a hotel for four full days. So it's classroom instruction, very much like tonight, but it is comprehensive. I walk you through all the different things different strategies and things that I recommend that you use and get to know. And we talk about both performing notes and the non-performing defaulted notes, okay? You will get the video for the 4 days and the audio, plus you can download the class manual that I use. This retails for $1,497. I love this system because you can go through everything in a very systemized order. And if you don't want to look at everything, you can use the table of contents. You want to know how to do a wraparound mortgage? Chapter such and such, whatever it is. You want to know how to use trust to hold your mortgage? Okay, chapter 18, whatever it is. Okay, so this retails for $1,497. You're also going to get my complete online library of forms and legal documents. It's everything you need to close both your performing and non-performing notes. And I put Word doc templates so you don't have to retype everything. Just pull it up in Word, make your changes, and you're good to go. This is priceless. I have people that buy my system just to get my forms and documents. So that will be a big help to you on everything. You're also going to get my stimulus plan quick start guide. This was something that I did right when the pandemic hit, and I realized that people needed to know how to make money from home. Plus, we had this huge influx of people that needed cash, that wanted to sell their notes. So I put together an 8-hour special presentation, and this is the go-to place to hit the ground running. So after our Saturday, because we're only doing 4 hours there, then the next place I would go to is the stimulus plan. It has all your marketing information. It has the role playing and how you can use your easiest 1, 2, 3 coaching to get started. So I would do the all day Saturday on the 17th. Then I would go to the stimulus plan for 8 hours, and then I would start going through the academy. And that's the way I would do it. Unless you want to flip properties, I would start with smart seller financing. I hope I'm not confusing you.
No, not at all. This is
Good.
incredible. This
Good.
is insane. Like, you don't miss anything in here. I mean, 30 years of experience. I mean, this is awesome. It seems like you set us up with everything we're gonna need. So that's awesome.
That is honestly what I've tried to do, Alexa. I have tried to make it as comprehensive, as easy to understand. I am a big step-by-step person. I like everything simple. I remember, believe it or not, I remember when I did my first deals and trying to figure out the numbers and everything. That's why I devised my 4 infallible steps, because I needed a system so I didn't make mistakes, So that's what I've tried to include here. And you will also get 6 months of easy as 1, 2, 3 coaching. So that will start when you buy it, but the actual coaching doesn't start until you submit a note for me to help you with. Okay. So that's why it's important to attend on Saturday so you can learn the marketing, so you can start right away, because I don't want you to miss any time at all. Truly, if you start marketing right away, you can be making money in no time at all. So you can get everything for only 2 payments of $748.50. Or if you want to save $200, you can get the entire system for only $12.97, 1 payment, $12.97. I do have a special offer that is just for the Rio group here, and that is that I am going to give a rebate. It is a $1,000 rebate if you close a deal within 6 months. You get my system and you use the easy as 1, 2, 3 coaching, so I'm helping you. That means you're going to be the liaison with the note seller, and you'll gather up documents and send them to me. I will evaluate the note. I do all the calculations. I prepare the contract. I send it to you, and you get the note seller's signature. You gather up a copy of the note and a copy of the settlement statement and the copy of the pay history. You shoot that over to me. I'm going to order the title and order a drive-by appraisal. Will use my investor, so you don't even need an investor to flip it to. And when we close, we split the profits 50-50. So if you buy through this event, I'm saying that out of my 50%, I will give you a $1,000 rebate on your purchase price. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Oh, sorry.
You like that, huh, Alexa?
It's just incredible. Like, we are so blessed here at BPM RIA. We always, I mean, everyone we have come on, we're very lucky that they do something special for us. And then everyone who's in here, you get to partake in this special offer that our speakers that we bring on give us. And it's not every day that you get to spend this time with professionals like yourself, and as well as get the time, get the resources, and they want to give you a rebate. It's like, it's just the cherry on top. It's really, really awesome. And thank you so much. And it's just really awesome.
You are so welcome. And the reason that I do that is the encouragement for people to close a deal. Because if I can get you to close one deal, you'll have that same excitement as I had when I closed my first note deal. And you'll be sold. You'll go, yes, I can do this, and you'll be on fire for notes. And that's why I do it, because we can make a lot more money doing a whole bunch more notes together. And I should say, you don't have to send your notes to me. What most people do is they do 1 or 2 transactions with me, and then they know enough that they can do it on their own. But then maybe, let's say they come across a commercial note and they don't know what to do with it. So then they might call me up and we'll do that together. Okay. So that's pretty much how it works. But I still have time left, and I have some other neat things to share with you, but I just wanted to let everybody know what we've got. And so, to take advantage of that, you go to the same place. I must have moved the slide thing. The same place to register for the Saturday, you'll see where to buy the materials. Okay, so you can go there. And remember, if you buy before next Wednesday or by next Wednesday, then you can come free to the all-day Saturday. Okay.
Exactly.
Matthew, could you take me back to slide 60, please?
Will do. Alexa, you were saying something?
No, I was just basically saying, yes, exactly what Donna says. If you purchase her system before or by a week from today, by the next Wednesday coming up, you will get in free for the workshop on September 17th. That is 100% correct. So look forward to seeing you all there.
I am looking forward to that. I love the Saturday workshops because I'm able to give you so much information, and it really is what will empower you to be up and running very quickly. So I love those. So I hope that you'll be able to attend. Okay, so up until now, we've been talking about the performing notes, and I see somebody answered that for me. The performing notes are the ones where people pay on time. And I will tell you that usually, if you evaluate the note like I teach you to, the seller carrybacks rarely ever go into default. Honestly, when the pandemic hit, I like kind of freaked out, and I thought, what if people stop paying on the notes? And I went and I looked, and I'm going, oh my gosh. And I thought, okay, so what if I give them a 6-month moratorium on payments? Because they might be out of a job for 6 months. Do you know that when I recalculated my rate of return, even if I gave them a 6-month moratorium and just tack those 6 months onto the end, or just let interest accrue, for those months, it only affected my rate of return like by 1/4%. So I'm all set to help everybody out. Do you know that every one of my notes continued to pay even through those really, really dark times? Now, I had one rental property where the gal said, no, you can't make me pay. You can't evict me, but all of my notes paid on time. So those are the performing notes. The non-performing notes are bank loans. Those are bank notes where the people have stopped paying. Once they're 90 days late, then they are subject to foreclosure. And those are the ones that we're talking about when we talk about the non-performing notes. Now, you can buy non-performing notes from community banks at huge discounts. The big banks, Chase, Wells Fargo, they don't sell them to us because they sell them to big hedge funds. But the small community banks, they love private investors. and you can get great deals on non-performing notes just by calling the community banks. Because our time is short, I thought what I'd like to do is just share with you an example of a non-performing note deal that one of my students did, just so you can see the possibilities. I thought this was a great deal. So this was Jim, and he had been looking through the non-performing notes that were available, and he saw this building. It was a 14,000 square foot warehouse office building that was for sale. Now, this is the actual building that was for sale, and it had a potential market value of $784,000. And it had originally been listed for $599, but what he noticed was it kept getting reduced to $419, to $370. Then it was down to $199. And he's going, what the heck? Why is this not selling? And it was a good thing for his curiosity, because he did some checking and he found out it was a total nightmare. There were all kinds of liens on the property. There was $150,000 federal, it was both federal and state tax liens. The first mortgage of $190,000 was in default. There were mechanic liens and utility liens. The property itself really needed repairs. The owner was not only in bankruptcy, but also going through a divorce. And there were $45,000 in property taxes that had been sold at the county tax auction. And the interesting thing, the owner did not redeem the 2009 and 2011 property taxes by the deadline. So this is like really a big can of worms. So he did his investigating and he calls the bank and he offers the bank for a $190,000 loan. He offered him $1,500. I couldn't believe it. I would never have the nerve to do that. But good for him that he did. Well, the bank declined on that, but he came back and then offered him $15,000 for a $190,000 note. And guess what? They agreed. I could not believe it. So he locks it up with a no purchase agreement. And before he closed, he hired an attorney to review the tax deed situation. And guess what they discovered? The company that bought the taxes had not filed the tax deed within the statutory period that was allowed. So guess what? That tax lien became a moot point. Isn't that cool? Now, most people would have walked away from that. And I have to tell you that when you see things like this that are a can of worms, if you have the patience to go through it, sometimes there's a real gem in there. Now, a lot of times it's a waste of time, but if you're willing to do the investigating, the analysis, sometimes that's where the best deals are, because nobody else will take the time to look at it. So this was an awesome note for him. So he verified that all the other liens would be wiped out. He buys the notes, he contacts the owner, and the owner was very cooperative, but he didn't want to do a loan modification. He said, look, I'll help you to foreclose and everything will get wiped out. By the way, when I said the other liens will be wiped out, I was referring to tax liens. And a lot of times they can be wiped out if there is no equity in the property. When I owned a title company, if you have a third party that calls them and they're doing a closing, like we did that all the time, and federal and state tax liens they would release them. So that's what I was talking about, in case you were wondering. So anyway, the owner of the property says, look, I'll help you. You can come in, look at the property. I'll do whatever you need. I just want out of here. So Jim foreclosed on the property and he got a $784,000 property for $15,000 plus $4,000 in attorney fees. So he's getting, for $19,000, he's getting $77,000 a year in rent for life. How would you like to have that deal? That's why we say that with the non-performing notes, a lot of times you make a lot more money. But see, most people would have looked at that and just blown it off and gone, I'm not going to do that. I thought this was a great deal, and kudos to Jim for taking the time and really to go through it and everything.
So Donna, just to reiterate what you were saying earlier, it's high risk, high reward, as we can see here.
Yes, absolutely. And he had to be prepared for whatever would come up, you know. That is the thing about the non-performing notes. Things can happen. The county can assess work orders on it. You could get building orders. They can assess taxes on it. All kinds of things can happen. If it's empty, you might wind up with squatters. I mean, things happen. A big thing that I see that happens a lot, people buy a non-performing note and they totally have in mind that they're going to do a workout with the payor. And that is a great strategy. And it's an easy strategy because then you never own the property. But then they buy the note and they go knock on the door and they find out that the property's been empty for months, you know, that the homeowner already skipped town or left or whatever. And so now that's a whole different ballgame for them. They can't do a workout with the homeowner. Now they've got to go in and fix up the property and flip it, or, you know, whatever they're going to do with it. So the thing is about the non-performing notes, you need to be prepared for just about anything. There are so many different exit strategies and different things that can pop up. And when you do go to do a workout, some people, they might have a lot of money that they can pay it off. Some of them you might need to make a deal and say, hey, you know, they might say, I can't pay you the $20,000 that I owe you. And you say, what can you pay? Well, I could give you $5,000 now and $200 a month. Well, if you've bought that for pennies on the dollar, you might have bought it for $2,000, you know, and so that would be a good deal. And again, when you buy these notes at a discount, because you pay such a little.
Get that, I'm gonna jump on the computer. I'm gonna work on getting the buyers. And then the only thing that I would want you to do for this one is whenever
Need somebody to mute.
Got it. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So I forgot what I was saying. I don't know, I lost it.
Sorry about that. I wasn't sure if that was coming from my computer or what.
I know, I'm so sorry. I thought that was like a recording.
I didn't know what it was either. But anyway, with the notes, there are lots of different
money
things
that I make, I'm see on paper.
We need to figure out who that is.
And then for my next one.
Oh,
will everyone please
That's
mute?
why I want you to do this for yourself too. Like, I don't want it to be.
Hold on.
oh gosh. James, please mute yourself, please.
James, we're glad you're doing business, buddy, but we're going to send you out for right now.
I think he's like, maybe he has his like phone on his head and it's like pressing buttons or something, but that doesn't happen again.
Can you
I
not
put him
mute
out just for
everyone?
right now. He can come back.
Oh, thank you so much, Matthew. Sorry about that, Donna.
That's okay. That's okay. Okay, well, in closing, I want to share one last note deal with you. And it is my favorite deal. And it's my favorite deal because it's the first deal I ever did. And it was absolutely life-changing. So again, this is over 30 years ago. You couldn't buy a list then. So I literally went down to the courthouse and we had microfiche back then. None of you are probably old enough to remember microfiche, but you sit and your head hurts, your neck hurts. And I spent the whole day there. And when I came home, I had 5 names. I was so discouraged and I was just going to throw them in the garbage. And I thought, I can't go down to the courthouse and keep doing this. And then I got to thinking, wait a minute, I worked hard to get those 5 names. I'm going to send my letter to them. And do you know that this deal came from one of those 5 letters? So I get a call from this young fella, David, and he and his brother had inherited this free and clear 4 family, and it had a fair market value of $114,000. They inherited it from their aunt. Now, these 2 boys did not get along at all. They were as different as night and day. David was a total bum. He was on drugs. He was always in trouble. He would not do anything to, no mowing the grass, no painting, nothing. Whereas Daniel took care of everything. He took care of the building. He collected the rents. He did everything. So Daniel, the responsible brother, buys out David. And in the process, he gives him 25,000 cash down payment. And then he created this $32,000 first mortgage. So this is a $32,000 first mortgage secured by a $114,000 property. Like, it doesn't get any safer than this. That is such a low loan to value. Do you see that? So, and Daniel had already made 13 payments, perfect pay history. That's one of the great things about doing notes. Unlike doing a private loan where you don't know if they're going to pay or not, notes have a pay history. So you can see that they've been paying on time. So there were 71 payments left and a balance owing of $28,207. Now, what I did was I made 2 offers to David. The first one was, I'll buy the entire note for $20,000. And if he had agreed to that, I would have been making 21.5% on my money. That is, if I had had my own money to invest, okay? I'm buying that at a 21.5% yield or rate of return. But my second offer was, I'll just buy 36 monthly payments. I'll give you $12,000 for the next 36 months of payments. And David, you can keep the last 35 payments. Now check this out. The return is even higher on just a partial. That's what we call that, a partial, because I didn't buy the whole note. 28.6%, okay? So which one do you think he took? It is really funny, but when you make both offers, oftentimes they will take the partial because it's like they can have their cake and eat it too. They get some money now, but yet they'll start getting monthly payments again a little bit later on. So he agreed that he wanted to sell 36 payments to me. So I contacted an investor, sold those payments for $14,222. I had paid David $12,000. I had about $450 in title and an appraisal. So my net profit was $1,722. Now keep in mind, this is like over 30 years ago. Okay. And this is my very first deal. I'm serious. I was babysitting kids for $1 an hour. So you can imagine what this was like, but it didn't stop there. I closed this and I sent David a letter. And I said, Dear David, it was really a pleasure doing business with you. In fact, if you ever want to sell the last 35 payments, I'll give you $6,000 for the last 35 payments. Now, time out. Do you see what just happened there? Originally, I was going to pay $20,000 for the whole note, but now he's got $12,000 and I just offered him $6,000 for the rest. So he just lost $2,000 by splitting it up. But the big question is, how long do you think it took him to blow that $12,000? It wasn't long. And do you know that I got a call from the Boone County, Kentucky jail? David was in jail and he needed bail money. I'm not kidding you. He didn't call his mother. He didn't call an attorney. He knew where he could get $6,000. And I'm not kidding you. I pick up the phone and somebody says, yes, we have a call here from the Boone County, Kentucky jail for Donna Bauer. Is she available? I'm thinking, who's in trouble, And here it was David. And he says, how quick do you think you could get this done? You said you'd buy the rest for $6,000. Well, all I had to do was get a quick title update. Do you know that I got a notary, a lady from the Cincinnati RIA group who was a notary, and she went with me, and we went into the Boone County, Kentucky jail. They locked us in the jail cell, and I bought the rest of his notes sitting in the jail cell. So if you ever ask me if I've been locked up, the answer is yes, but I was buying a note. Okay. So I turned around, I sold the second part to an investor, and I made $3,600 on the second part. So on that total transaction, I made $5,372. And that was a life-changing thing for me. And it wasn't just the $5,000. It was what I said before. when I closed this, I went, yes, this worked. I can do this. And I turned around. The next note I bought was from a RIA member who had carried back a note when she sold a property. She wanted to cash out of it so she could go buy another property. And then I bought a note on a property down in Texas, because remember, you can market all over the country. So you can buy any place in the country. And I've just been doing it ever since then. And it has been the greatest blessing for me and my family. It allowed me to be at home with my kids. I was determined to be a stay-at-home mom. I could do my notes off the dining room table. I worked when they were sleeping, when they were in nursery school, after they went to bed at night. And there were times, I remember this well, where we didn't have cell phones back then, but I had a long cord on the phone, and I would shut the bathroom door, and I'd be in the bathroom negotiating a deal, and my little kids are pounding on the door. But you know what? When you have money and you can give it to a note seller, they don't care if kids are pounding on the door or not. They just want to sell their note. So it was a life-changing thing for me. And that is why I present my program to everybody else, because most people don't know about notes. They don't know there are just so many ways that you can make money, that it will allow you to close more deals. It will allow you to make more money on deals. And it's something that you can do from home, and that you can do whether you're taking care of children or maybe even your parents. I have handicapped people who, they can't get out. And especially when COVID hit, nobody could get out. And so this was a real blessing to everyone. So that's why I'm here. I hope that you'll consider getting my system. I'm going to flash through here real quick because the time is up. But you can get the entire system, which is all virtual. Matthew will hook you up with a dashboard so you can access everything. You also get the 6 months of personal coaching. That is not with someone that I pay. That is working with me personally. This is what I do for a living. I buy notes. That's not just something I say. I sell materials and teach on the side, but I've done a great way of incorporating it, because we can do notes together and you can learn at the same time. Okay. And again, I'm going to give you the $1,000 rebate. So you can either do the 2 payments of $748.50 or save $200 with 1 payment of $1297. And here's your link. And thank you for putting that in the chat again, Alexa. I really appreciate it. I hope that you will all consider doing this. If you need extra cash or you want to build your retirement, there's no better way to build a retirement than with notes. And I didn't even have time to show you some of the things where you can really make tens of $1,000s when a note pays off. And I will go over that on Saturday. I had to cut things short for tonight, but I look forward to sharing all of that with you on Saturday.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Donna. That was insane. So as you guys know, Donna is doing something special for us at BPM RIA. So don't go straight to her website. You can check out her website if you want to, but be sure to use the special link that I'm sending all of you so you can get the special pricing and the special offer that Donna is offering. Just so you guys know. We got that relationship with Donna, so she's getting us the best that she can possibly offer us. So you're definitely going to want to take advantage. If you want to do the 2 payments, just go ahead and let me know. As I said, I will be sending all of you a follow-up email after this meeting is over. So you'll get an email from me, Alexa, like the Amazon thing, at bpmreia.com. So all of you look out for an email from me. If you don't see it, double check your spam and junk folder, because I will be sending, an email to everyone that's in this meeting right now. So look out for the follow-up email from me. I'm super excited for you guys to join us on that Saturday for the half-day workshop. Have to take advantage of these workshops, guys. This is why we have the RIA, so that we can organize and get together and take advantage of these incredible speakers that come in and pour their time and energy and effort and knowledge into us. So go ahead and register for this for the virtual workshop on Saturday. It's only $29 for everyone who's not a member, and then members, you know, you get the special pricing hookup, $19. So if you have any questions, go ahead and send me an email. You'll all get an email from me, so you know where to find me. Thank you guys all so much for being here tonight. Thank you, Matthew. Do we have any last minute comments, questions, anything else for everybody?
I just want to mention that you only get the $1,000 rebate if you go through the RIA link. Okay.
Exactly, guys. So, you know, you can investigate her website if you'd like, but be sure to use the special link that we're providing so you can get all of the goodies. And thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. I think we got all of your questions. I'm so happy for everyone that was able to make it tonight. As I said, we will have this replay posted on our YouTube channel. You'll get the link to the YouTube channel in the thank you email that I send you guys. So thank you guys so much. You're so interactive tonight. Thank you for showing Donna how in sync we are here at BPM. We really care. We're trying to learn. We're trying to get these multiple exit strategies and all of this knowledge in our brains so that whatever comes our way, we know how to handle it. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate your good energy and all of your positive comments in the chat right now. Thank you guys so much. You know, we try really hard to get these great people to come in, and we're just really grateful. So thank you guys. I want you guys to get some rest and let this information digest in your brains. So I'm going to let you all go. You will have an email pop up in your inbox from me. Thank you so much, Donna. We will see you again. Yes, tell me.
Somebody's asking, what about the raffle?
Oh, perfect. So I did send a private message over to my raffle winner. My raffle winner tonight was Sandra M., who I believe is still in this. Yep, she is. So Sandra M., congratulations. You got the 1-year membership to BPM RIA. So awesome. Woo-hoo. And I will go ahead and send you an email to get your free membership set up so you can get the special pricing for Saturday's workshop. Go you. And again, like I mentioned, guys, if you go ahead and buy the system, virtual system tonight, Donna Bauer's virtual system, you will get in free for Saturday. So we will stay in connection. I'll go ahead and look out for that so we can get you locked in and in the meeting free on Saturday. All right, guys, that's everything I have for you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. We will see you again, you know, next week on Zoom. As you know, we meet pretty much every week on Zoom. And then, you know, right around the corner, Donna's coming back. So you guys, if you have any questions, go ahead and shoot me an email. And we'll see you guys at the next webinar.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you and good night.
Good night, everybody. Thank you so much. Take care.